Okay, guys, as part of this question, we are going to study what we call basic toolkit functions that everything in this course is going to be based on. The first one here is to realize whether I should just keep using the line tool or the parabola tool or square root tool or absolute value. So let's just make sure that we know what's what. So obviously for a line, that's just going to be something like x or 3x or 2x minus 1. We're going to need 2 points. So once we fix them, we can get a line, right? So that's a line tool. For the parabola tool, what you're going to need to do to graph it is you're going to need to know something called vertex, which we're going to study next after this exam. So there's going to be one vertex and then there is going to be any other point. So that's if you wanted to graph a parabola and let's say just it looks like this. So that's what you need. So my open math will ask you for the vertex and any other point. So this is a parabola. This is a square function, right? Like x squared. Okay, and then the next one that you see in the toolkit, so we talked about the line, we talked about the parabola. Now we're going to talk about the square root. So the square root function, one of the differences is that it is just like a parabola. Imagine that just turning it to the right by 90 degrees, you're going to get something like that, but it's only one part of it, one half of it. So it's not the whole thing, but just this part. Okay, that's square root, or maybe the other part, depending on if it's reflected or not reflected. But if it's just a basic square root, you're gonna need to know where it starts, like corresponding to the vertex, right? And then one other point it'll go through. So it'll have something like that. That's gonna be the graph of the square root. Okay, so this is square root. Okay, and then that's a parabola. And of course, this is a line. So if your instructor allows you to use a small note card on the test, this would be something I would put. And finally, for the absolute value, this is like a V shape, right? This is like a letter V. So absolute value would look like this. So just imagine that. First of all, it needs something like a vertex. That's what like the bottom of letter V is going to be. And then this is the graph. Okay, so that's absolute value. So it's very important to know these basic functions. So for the first question, it's absolute value of x. So I'm going to go to this option. And absolute value of x has the corresponding vertex, or whatever you want to call it, at 0, 0. And it also goes through 1, 1. And that's about it. That's really all you have to do. So just indicate the vertex, indicate one more point, and that's 1, 1. Okay, now this one is f of x equals 2. So this is going to be for any x, no matter what x is, it just gives you y equal 2. So this is still a line, but it's going to be a horizontal line. So it's like y equal 2 is the same thing. So any point on that line should have the same y coordinate of 2. So you can really fix any 2 points as long as the y coordinate of those points is 2. You're done with that. Okay, now x is a line. So that's going to be this line. I'm still using the line. And it goes through 0, 0, because when x is 0, x is 0. And it also goes through 1, 1, because when x is 1, x is 1. Okay, so that's your line. Now, this is a parabola. So for a parabola, you need to indicate the vertex. So we're going to go back over here to the parabola tool, and we need the vertex. Now, the vertex of x squared is at 0, 0, just like for absolute value, the same thing. And it also goes through 1, 1. So because when x is 1, 1 squared is also 1. So there's your parabola. Okay, finally, the square root. So square root is just like a half of a parabola. Just imagine this left half. Turning it clockwise by 90 degrees, that's how you get this guy. So we need to click on it, and it'll go through 0, 0, and also through 1, 1. And there is your square root.